a bunch of people I know did walk through this property and turned it down. I think you walk through and you're like, this has, the exterior needs work, it needs a new roof, all the units need to be completely gutted, rents are low, seller wasn't willing to provide it vacant, so that was a challenge as well. So I think all of those things coupled with, just all put together, people just got scared away, or the numbers didn't seem like it would work for them. But I know the market, I understand what the potential rents could be, and based on those potential rents, I understand what the ARV could be. Purchase price on this guy, it was $148,000, which is really cheap. This was in late 2018. This property was actually on the MLS. Half of my portfolio I bought on the MLS and half I bought privately. Actually, two of my best BRRRRs ever were both MLS deals, so there's a lot that's overlooked. A lot of people are analyzing deals based on their current rents, but you need to analyze them based on projected rents when you're done. So in this case, this property, when I was looking at it, rented for $500 per unit, and now that it's rented out fully, it's grossing $3,200 a month.
We're back in London, Ontario with Kellan again, and in this video, Kellan's breaking down for us how he goes about getting vacant possession of his properties when he's buying a new rental property. This is something a lot of novice or inexperienced real estate investors really struggle with conceptualizing and actually executing on. Cash for keys when done right is an amazing strategy, and cash for keys when done wrong can really blow up in your face. So it's really important that we understand the intricacies of this investment strategy for getting vacant possession of our rental units, and Kellan's going to break down for us how he goes about approaching those conversations, which at times can really take nuance. Again, thanks Kellan so much for taking the time, and let's dive into this video. Alright guys, Kellan's now going to break down for us the numbers behind this triplex and SOHO here in London, Ontario. So what are we looking at, Kellan?
So this property was actually on the MLS, so half of my portfolio I bought on the MLS and half I bought privately. Actually, two of my best BRRRRs ever were both MLS deals, so there's a lot that's overlooked. A lot of people are analyzing deals based on their current rents, but you need to analyze them based on projected rents when you're done. So in this case, this property, when I was looking at it, rented for $500 per unit, and now that it's rented out fully, it's grossing $3,200 a month. So purchase price on this guy, it was $148,000, which is really cheap. This was in late 2018. It sat on the MLS for quite a while. They were asking $160,000, just because all the units needed to be gutted. The exterior looked like trash. I have some good photos of that before.
And so back in 2018, the market was still pretty hot. So what do you associate? Obviously, December, the market starts cooling off. People start taking holidays. They're not spending as much time looking or bidding on properties.
I think I know other people that walked through this. It might be my version of your Elias Street, because if you guys remember BRRRRing Elias Street, one of Matt's very first videos, which I studied and used to replicate all of his strategies. I had walked through that property and I decided I didn't want it. Matt walked through it, bought it, and ended up BRRRRing it, and it became one of the landmark deals to explain what a BRRRR is. And I think this is similar in that a bunch of people I know did walk through this property and turned it down. I think you walk through and you're like, this has, the exterior needs work, it needs a new roof, all the units need to be completely gutted, rents are low, seller wasn't willing to provide it vacant, so that was a challenge as well. So I think all of those things coupled with, just all put together, people just got scared away, or the numbers didn't seem like it would work for them. But I know the market, I understand what the potential rents could be, and based on those potential rents, I understand what the ARV could be. So I base it all on that.
And so what's the unit breakdown? One bed, one bath, or what are we looking at?
So we have 2 one-bedroom units and 1 two-bedroom unit. So it's 1,000, 1,000, and 1,200.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And they all pay their own hydro as well, so it's all separate.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So then renovations, you've spent about $75,000 on this project.
Yep.
What does that all encompass? And
I would say it averages out to about 20 grand per unit on the inside, and then another 15 or so for the outside. So we did have to do a brand new roof, all new siding, soffits, fascia, eaves troughs, and then new furnace, all the units were gutted, yeah. So
in order to get it looking the way it does right now on the outside, all the siding plus the roof, that was around 15?
Yep, and the soffits, fascia, eaves troughs, and then I also did some significant landscaping out front, which I'll show you as well. We had a couple of nice brick pads that were added, interlocking brick, and 2 new porches. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back there for a second. So I think a big part of why you were able to get such a good deal was because the property was occupied, right? Yes, so a lot of people saw that, probably associated, okay, occupied units, getting that tenant turnover, that's a big pain in the ass. There's a lot of variables there. A lot of people probably just shrugged and decided it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
How did you go about, after closing, getting vacant possession?
So there was a bit of a risk associated with this. So the seller wasn't willing to provide vacant, but they were willing to provide notice saying, hey, look, new owner would like the unit to be vacant. And luckily 2 of the tenants were just willing to move out. And one of them ended up moving out a month later as well. So all of them ended up just, it was maybe sort of a fluke, but also just kind of a strategic thing where I kind of assumed, you know, if we kind of talked to them correctly, that at some point they would be willing to move.
So obviously it's important just to ask in the first place, but then beyond that, obviously you're not always going to get quite that lucky. So otherwise, what sort of other strategies or approaches have you used?
So I likely would have done a purchase plus improvements if it couldn't have been vacant. That would have been a way similar to what I did with the 5-plex, where, you know, I can get some of the money out, but then I can still eventually turn it over and get the rents that I would need.
Gotcha. And then, like, have you done cash for keys and other strategies in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important when you have a unit that, if you have a unit that needs to turn over, it's really important to have that conversation with the tenant and just say, look, if you have a place that you would be willing to move, or I'd be willing to help you out, be happy to pay you X amount of dollars in order to move, or you can even pay, if you're willing, to pay a certain amount of money per month, every month for the next 12 months, so that they know, yeah, rents are higher now, but at least over the next year, they're gonna have that supplementary income from me in order to help reduce their rent at the new place. Lots of different ways to play around with that, but at the end of the day, you want to treat them like people, you know, build some rapport with them, and just have a conversation and help them understand what your intentions are as well.
Awesome. And so the previous videos we've done so far, Kellan, were all in the old East Village. So that's a neighborhood that's very fastly gentrifying. It's been in that process for maybe 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it really feels like it's on the tipping point. Soho is a little bit of a different story. It feels like it's just started recently to gentrify.
Yeah.
So what's your experience in getting like good tenants in at these higher rents?
Yeah.
How do you approach that, especially when like maybe your neighbor properties aren't going to be in the same condition and the same class of tenants as the building you're doing?
Great point. Yeah. So in this house, I actually did in-suite laundry in all of the units. I did, once again, subway tile, all new flooring, all new everything. It looks really nice with the pot lights and everything. It's an attractive product, and at the end of the day, if people feel safe, they're going to be happy. And I had actually no trouble at all getting good tenants in this property. I've had a lot more trouble in other units, and I don't think it's so much about the neighborhood as it is about the unit itself.
The quality of amenities.
The quality of everything. Yeah, when they walk in, they want to feel like this is a comfortable home to live in. It's got a good layout, all that. So my two best burrs were both in Soho, actually, and they were both MLS deals, and both of them have been really easy to find good tenants. So it's something I should probably focus on a little bit more myself. Most of my stuff is in Old East Village, but numbers wise, it's kind of been hard to beat Soho.
Gotcha. And so when it's time to actually rent out this unit, I'm assuming you just take a for rent sign, throw it in the front yard, and that's it?
Yeah, so no, I'm listing them on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace. Once again, you're gonna get 100 plus replies on a lot of these ads. You gotta filter through, ask the right questions, and actually, one of these units I rented, I had a friend help me out because I left after, I left on a 3-month van trip around the USA, and during that time I had a friend help me rent one of these units out. So actually 2 of these units I haven't actually been in since they've been 100% completed.
That's awesome.
But I have some good photos, and yeah, they're just really nice units. They're small, once again, but at least they're not bachelor units. They're 1-bed and 2-bed, and people are really happy with them. In-suite laundry in every unit is a huge value add for people.
At various networking events, I'm often talking with experienced, landlords that have been in the game for a long time. A lot of them are very familiar with throwing up an ad on Kijiji, but probably haven't played around with Facebook Marketplace. Is there any differences or any tips you'd recommend when placing an ad on Facebook versus Kijiji?
Yeah, so one thing is they're going to see your profile. So whatever profile you're posting with, make sure it's, professional looking, or even if it is your personal account, just make sure there's nothing, make it professional.
You want to portray the image of you as a landlord.
Yeah, so any public profile, make sure it looks reasonable. Even if you do look like just a person, just make sure you're friendly and you look like you'd be a nice landlord, right? And then likewise, you're going to be looking at their stuff as well. So when you see a listing or when you see a tenant reply to your unit, you're going to look at their Facebook profile, and if they're like holding guns up in their profile picture, it might not be the type of tenant for you. So it's actually a really easy way to help pre-screen a little bit. You're not going to judge based on anything that isn't like completely unreasonable, but you'd be surprised by some of the things people post on their Facebook. So that's a really great way to pre-screen. You do tend to get way more replies, so I think it's too easy for people to scroll through and just click, hey, I'm interested, and then you get a ton of like fluffy replies, so they're not actually very real. So that's why a lot of pre-screening is really valuable.
Nice, I love it. So you've broken down for us the cash flow on this specific project. Do you mind walking us through it? Yeah, so first I'll start with the purchase price, $148,000. That was a really good deal, and but they were asking $160,000, and like I said, no one was interested in it, and this was late 2018, so it was a hot market. The market was not cooling down by any means, and I ended up getting it for $148,000, put in about $75,000. At this point, it's renting for $3,200 a month plus hydro for all 3 units. So I'm expecting the ARV to be around $350,000, give or take, say 25 grand. So when all is said and done, based on an ARV of $350,000, I should be about negative $53,000 out of pocket. So I should be able to get all of my down payment, all my renovations, closing costs, legal fees, and 50 grand back. That's
so I should,
massive.
Yeah. So, and this is actually the second time I've done a deal like this, and I feel like a lot of people think this is unachievable, but this isn't the first time I've done it, and I think it's just about strategically renovating, buying right. Buying right is everything, but yeah, strategically renovating, getting the rents up correctly, and then approaching the appraisal intelligently so that you can justify the new ARV.
Love it. And so after you refinance it, even factor in, vacancy and maintenance, we're still looking at solid cash flow, plus getting all that money out.
So you have all your money out, another 50 grand or so, and then before refinance right now, before vacancy and maintenance, it's over 2 grand a month. After, it'll be about 1,500. And then, so after vacancy and maintenance, so I budget, it looks like about $300 or so for vacancy and maintenance per month. I'm still gonna make $1,200 after refinance if it comes back at $350.
Thanks, Kellan, so much for taking the time to break down the numbers with us on this awesome triplex where you're getting $53,000 back after all your money. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in contact?
Yep, so I'm on Instagram. It's Kellan, Kellan.PAN, and Instagram is mainly where I'm posting right now. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm usually the first one commenting on most of Matt's videos, so feel free to click through, and maybe I'll be posting some videos at some point. Right now, I just have an old video up there, but I would like to start getting into that more.
Awesome.
So here I'm going to show you guys the outside of this property. There was a significant amount of exterior renovations that were done. So we started with the driveway. There was some grass along the back fence, and we had some of the posts replaced. We replaced all the grass and just did gravel throughout, and that way there's lots of parking for the tenants. This unit, there is sort of room for 3 cars, but you might block each other in. So in this case, the tenants have kind of worked it out, but I think parking correctly, you could fit 3 cars, which is super valuable to be able to provide that parking. So as you can see, we've done all new siding on the property now. So I did vertical siding, and I did white on the corners. We did all new soffits, fascia, eaves troughs, new roof, exterior lights. We did new porches except for this one. And yeah, we can walk around a bit and just kind of show you. I like to do nice, exterior lights. This is actually an original door, but replace the doors if necessary. I did an energy audit on this property as well. So in Ontario, you can get grants back. So when I did the attic insulation, spray foam the crawl space, new furnace, you get rebates for that stuff. So that's really valuable. New windows where I needed them, capped and all that. So one of the challenges that I do tend to have as well is just like satellite dishes and wires and everything all over the house. So I like to get a Bell or Rogers technician to come out and meet them here and be like, which of these wires can I just eliminate, and which of these satellite dishes can I just cut down? So I like to eliminate that and make the outside look nice and clean. The front's not quite done yet, but we have a new porch going in, and we've also done new brick interlocking pads leading up to both doors. That really just adds a lot of value for renovation, for a reappraisal. It's just, they like to see that you're actually taking care of the property and doing these things that are above and beyond. I have a guy that I've been using for a lot of this stuff, so I like to keep him busy when I can, just like any of the contractors that I've found. If they're treating you well with good prices and that kind of thing, keep them busy and get them to do projects at all of your properties whenever you can. So new deck, new interlocking brick. I had a tree taken out there because it was digging into the siding, or into the foundation, so I had that all torn out. And then this is the rest of the house.
That was Kellan's approach to cash for keys. I'd love to get your opinions and your feedback. How are you guys getting vacant possession of your rental units, especially in markets like Ontario, Canada, where rents are dramatically increasing year over year, and we're leaving a lot of money and potential on the table by not getting market rents in our rental properties? Are you doing cash for keys? Are you doing the tenant swap? What sort of strategies are you implementing? I'd love to know. Jump in that comment section and share with the audience how you guys are getting vacant possession of your rental units. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. If you guys didn't know, I'm now releasing exclusive Facebook content on Cashflow Tribe beta and alpha groups. So jump over to the Cashflow Tribe beta group, join for free, and if you're interested, check out the Cashflow Tribe alpha group as well.
Cashflow Tribe.